KTM 1090 Adventure Review. Lower emissions usually require bikes to go up in capacity just to deliver the same power. Not in the case of the KTM 1090 Adventure, which makes 30 horsepower more than its predecessor, the 1050 Adventure, and remains the same capacity despite the name change. So it's 125 horsepower instead of 95 horsepower, still 1050cc, and more efficient, in line with the Euro 4 limits. The old one was kept at 95 horsepower, so that it could be restricted to 47.5 horsepower for A2 license holders, under rules which say eligible bikes must not make more than double that to begin with. Now the firm is offering a separate variant that makes 47.5 horsepower out of the box, and which, we are told, cannot be tampered with to unleash the extra 80 horsepower potential of the V-twin motor. It's jumping from a swing to a roundabout to meet the fickle demands of people making motorcycle rules in a vacuum of insight, but for once it means more power, at least for those with an unrestricted license. Quite a lot more power, actually. The fools. As with 1290 Super Adventure, KTM has also split the model into more than one variant. A more off-roading 1090 Adventure R, with wire-spoked wheels, and a sportier edition called simply the 1090 Adventure and retaining cast aluminium wheels. That's the one I rode at the launch in Corsica. Read about the new 1090 Adventure range here. The name change is presumably to reflect its close relation to the 1290 Super Adventure with which it shares a platform. The 1090 now makes as much power as BMW's R1200 GS while weighing less. The BMW's claimed weight includes fuel, at 244 kilograms, while the KTM's figure is dry, at 205 kilograms. Even with the GS 20-liter tank, it seems likely that fuel and fluids will not account for the 39 kilograms difference. The 1090 is also 10 kilograms lighter than the 1290 Super Adventure S, which KTM launched at the same event, having journalists ride one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I'd been so impressed with the technology-packed 1290 in the morning that the 1090 was starting from the back of the field in the afternoon, but it took until the first corner for the weight advantage to become evident. The 1290 handles excellently, but the 1090 tips into a lean with less effort, more quickly. Most of the weight difference will be down to the loss of the highest spec equipment in rider aids. Gone is the cornering ABS and lean angle sensitive traction control, along with the inertial measurement unit that makes them possible. Gone is the up-down quick shifter, semi-active suspension, TFT full-color dash and cornering headlight, along with $3,000 off the price, making the 1090 £11,299. Retained is disengageable ABS and traction control with 3 riding modes: Sport, Street and Rain. An additional off-road ABS and traction control mode is available as an option, and KTM says the model still has off-road potential despite being a road-biased variant. The 1090 also has a power-assisted slipper clutch to inhibit rear-wheel lock on downshifts and make the lever easier to pull. Less electronic jiggery poker means less intervention between action and consequence, making the 1090 more of a pure riding experience than its bigger sibling. If you're riding well, it's because you're riding well, not because semi-active suspension is making constant damping adjustments to absorb your clumsiness. I think because of that, and its greater cornering agility, I quickly found the 1090 hugely rewarding on Corsica's twisty roads, and if anything pushed it harder than the 1290. Peak torque is 80 lb-ft, only 7 lb-ft more than the 1290 makes at 3000 rpm, and 12 lb-ft less than the peak of the R1200 GS. That means you can't just stay in third gear between corners quite as much as on the 1290, and overtaking a car is more likely to require downshift. In third, above about 5000 rpm is where the motor really begins to sprint, but it's plenty capable of rapidly eating straights when it does, and working for power can be rewarding too. An annoying Audi driver, the kind with something to prove, going just fast enough to be a nuisance to overtake on tight and twisty roads, was quickly dispatched, outbraked by the KTM's twin 4-pot radial-mounted front calipers. The bike eased ahead and then in front of the car before compliantly falling into a lean. The Metzeler Tourance's next front tire answered the quick change in demands of the non-semi-active WP forks let me know it was coping. Through the turn, the smooth initial throttle response made it easy to feed in just enough power and pull away. I think I snorted inside my helmet with satisfaction. The 1090 should be a near equal to the 1290 when you want to stop trucking it around and eat 1,000 miles of motorway. It doesn't have a comfort suspension mode, and the seat is slightly less plush. It's 10mm lower on paper, at 850mm. In practice I didn't notice the difference. I'm 5'9" and could get the balls of both feet comfortably on the ground. The 1090's easy to maneuver at low speed, helped by the wide bars and upright writing position. The screen is a different shape to the 1290's, not as wide at the top and slightly lower. It's still adjustable, but the process requires the unfastening of a catch on either side instead of turning a knob. Panniers are available as an option. As with the 1290, the position of the bars, footrests, gear lever and dash are all adjustable. The dash is much simplified and includes an old-fashioned analog touch, but still involves menus of settings and a digital display, which must be navigated using buttons on the left bar. Like the 1290, the 1090 Adventure could be fiddly to get into neutral, preferring to go from first to second, and there was sometimes a delay in the green light coming on to tell me I'd managed it. At £11,299, the 1090 Adventure is roughly £1,000 cheaper than the very cheapest R1200 GS. Perhaps a closer match is the Ducati Multistrada 950, but that has less power and torque from its smaller engine and costs almost as much, at £10,995 in red or £11,195 in white. The Multistrada 1200 starts from £13,795 and is more closely matched with the 1290 Super Adventure, while the Honda Africa Twin has more of an off-road bias. KTM says the 1090 Adventure is the entry to the exciting world of KTM travel enduros, but it's not really an entry-level motorcycle. It's a well-equipped, fast, agile adventure sports bike, a tourer that's also a thorough blast on back roads, at a near entry-level price.